Brian and I bought a Mooney aircraft in July 2019 in Camarillo, California, and flew it all the way across the country to North Carolina. In this video, we're going to talk about the first leg of that journey. Here in this photo that was taken in Camarillo just before we departed, you'll see the previous owner of the airplane. His name is Barry, and we enjoyed getting to know him, and we're still in contact with him today. He's a nice man, and he took good care of the airplane since he bought it brand new. He ordered it from the factory in 1995 and took excellent care of it ever since. So that's Barry in the airplane there in this picture. In the next image, you can see our planned route from Camarillo, California, which is in the upper left of the image, along the north and east side of the busy Los Angeles airspace, through Banning Pass, which is a low spot between two mountains that is used for aviation navigation to get through that area and avoid the high terrain between California and heading on out towards Arizona. And the peaks on either side of that are up towards 11,000 feet with a low spot between. Then along over Palm Springs, and then across the arid landscape towards Arizona and the Phoenix area. And so that was our planned route for leg one. In this short video clip, you'll see our very first takeoff in the airplane departing Camarillo. We had only had one previous flight in the airplane, and that was with the previous owner flying. And so this is the very first time either of us had ever flown it. And so here's our departure. A beautiful day, and we get to fly out over some of the beautiful agricultural areas around Camarillo.
And you see on a lot of the legs back home, we had Brian G. doing most of the flying, as he has many hours in these Moonies. Got his commercial rating in them, and I think I had about 5.6 hours in my logbook so far. So I was still gaining the confidence and the comfort with the airplane.
Yep, so just getting the feel of it here. Every airplane's a little bit different, so just kind of learning what we're doing here. Air traffic control had us make a right turnout, and that seems to be typical out of this airport off this particular runway. Nice view of the 101 looking east, and that's looking east towards Thousand Oaks, and then further on down would be Los Angeles. And then there's the airport coming into view on the upper right where we had just taken off. As we're climbing out, we had a really beautiful view of the city of Los Angeles that you can see here. You can see the LAX airport right there in the center, and then the beautiful Pacific Ocean. I had never seen the Pacific Ocean before, so that was fun. And I was feeling a little bit intimidated at this time because, you know, we had just departed in an unfamiliar airplane into the busy Los Angeles controlled airspace. So we did fine, though. Between the two of us and our experience, we had no issues whatsoever. And it was a beautiful day, nice and smooth. Here's a nice view of Dodger Stadium that was just to the right of our route. So we got to see some cool stuff along the way.
Jump 5, Albuquerque Center, radar contact the Phoenix altimeter 2985. 2985, jump 5.
Well, okay, so we just fly to SSO now. There's an airport if we need it, along I-10.
Hit profile.
Here.
Right there. Then we hit the overall route. You see that these mountains will be the highest ones we go over.
Those right there.
Yep.
And that's airspace?
That is airport airspace.
Okay.
Correct?
Yep. All right, great.
So that's working fine.
Center, Air Shuttle 5717 to flight level 29.
Here's a picture of the instrument panel in our climb. You can see we're at, about 9,050 feet still climbing. We were headed on up to 9,500, and we actually did most of the trip at 9,500. Here's a nice view looking down our intended path. We had a little bit of a crosswind from the left, so we're actually headed towards Banning Pass, which you can see is the low spot in the smog down there. That's the smog out of Los Angeles, but a good view of the pass. And look at these mountains. Some of those peaks are, as I said earlier, up towards 11,000 feet there in Southern California. Nice view of Palm Springs and their airport. And then after crossing Palm Springs, we're looking at the Salton Sea, looking south. And beyond the Salton Sea down there is Mexico. And then venturing on a bit farther, this is Interstate 10 as it snakes its way through the sort of arid desert landscape that we were certainly not familiar with. And it was kind of interesting to see those different kinds of landscapes. And you can see that erosion there and how the water comes down that slope and gets directed under those bridges under the interstate. So pretty interesting stuff, nice engineering. And then finally here we have a nice view of some agricultural area in Southern California, or maybe that's Arizona, I'm not really sure.
You can see that we're using the KLN-90B as our sole navigation instrument for the most part. And here we went to Palm Springs, VOR, then over to Thermal, Blythe, and then to Buckeye, and then finally on to Chandler. So here we are, 45 minutes out, and we do have a little bit of a tailwind at this point. So we're going about 172 knots over the ground, which is great, and we'll lead to Chandler in just a little bit. When we were cruising along at 9,500 feet, it was probably about 75 degrees outside, so it was comfortable in the airplane. As we began our descent into Phoenix, it got pretty bumpy along the way, so we didn't take any camera footage of the descent in. But here's the airport diagram for Chandler with its 2 runways. We came in on 4 left and landed and taxied in.
So we chose Chandler Airport just south of Phoenix. Initially it was supposed to be just a fuel stop, but as the day dragged on and our departure out of Camarillo took a little bit longer than we thought because we're waiting for the banks and financial stuff to take place, we got a late start. By the time we got to Chandler, it was 114 degrees. It was 3 o'clock in the afternoon, or a little bit after 3. We were tired, and if we had continued on, our next planned stop would have been all the way out in Odessa, Texas. And we decided that we were just going to call it a day and spend the night in Chandler. Part of our plan for Chandler, if it was going to be just a fuel stop, was to have lunch here at this cafe. But one of our problems was that it was just after 3 o'clock by the time we arrived, and they closed at 3. So that complicated things a little bit, and as I said, we were tired, it was hot, and we were happy enough to call that a day. The numbers on this one, it was 372 nautical miles total, and that took only 2.6 hours in the Mooney, and we hadn't quite perfected the engine leaning at that time, so we were burning about 10 gallons an hour. We could have done better, burning a little bit less, but 10 gallons an hour. So if you run those numbers, it took us 26 gallons of fuel to fly from Camarillo to Chandler, so not too bad. So we hope you've enjoyed watching this video that we put together for you. In the next episode, we're going to do another video on the next leg of the trip, and that's going to be from Chandler, Arizona, all the way out to Abilene, Texas, and then that was a lunch and fuel stop, and then same day we went on from Abilene, Texas to Little Rock, Arkansas. So that'll be in the next video.
And this course was my longest flight ever in a Mooney at the 2.6 hours, but that will change tomorrow. So if you like, hit the subscribe button so you continue to get notified when new videos come out.
Yep, sounds good. Thanks a lot, guys.